talk to us about writing. We have a lot of writers at our Writers Workshop. We've got some published authors on our site. We've got people that are just wanting to get into it, people that don't know if they want to get into it or not. But as a New York Times best-selling author, we want to hear from the horse's mouth. So we're here. This is the writing studio, which, as I understand, is about 30 feet away from where you live.
Yeah, right. Yep.
But you needed to segregate yourself from the home.
Yeah, I do. And a couple of my friend Miles Harvey, who wrote a best-selling book, The Island of Lost Maps, he told me, he's like, he's like, Dave, get an office.
Yeah.
Like, you have to get out of there. And actually, years ago, Hope Bronson had said on his website, if you're serious about your writing, you'll find a place to do it.
Yeah.
And whether that's like you rent an office space, or you get a deal with a friend, or you set up your basement, or whatever the hell it is, you come up with something. And what where you write and what you come up with yourself is communicating to you how seriously you take this.
Right.
And if it's just a place on your couch where you sit down with your laptop, well, the same place where you watch TV, well, then maybe it's a hobby to you.
Right.
Maybe it's how you're treating it.
Right.
And, is this your job?
Right.
Yeah, so I only rented this about 8 years into the process, and I was really nervous. And it was at the same point I also decided to hire a part-time research assistant. I got a couple different college students for like $13 an hour. So that's all I could afford.
So there's an investment.
They do great work. But yeah, I remember meeting with a friend of mine. I was like, this isn't working. I'm going to meet another deadline. And I had some plan of I can't remember doing something that seemed a little drastic. I can't remember what it was. And he's like, seriously, is that enough? Is that going to get you there? And I was like, not really. He's like, well, then what? He's like, you need to hire somebody. And you're not getting your work done in your freaking apartment. You need to hire, get a new apartment. And I thought about getting a 2-bedroom apartment, which would have been cheaper, but I thought I would only have this sort of 6 months. But a place came open. It was down the hall. It's $4.95 a month, $495 for. I'm like, okay, for an office space, just right down the hall. It is, and I just set it up with, and the furnishing was nothing. Actually, I went to Home Depot, and this was like $40 for this melamine.
Yeah.
And I just friend's old cast-off, beat-up filing cabinets,
Nice.
and then I just put it across. And actually, a friend bolted a thing to the wall to support it on that side. But it's a long thing, and then I have this was an old countertop.
Yeah,
this is a countertop of somebody's
countertop.
Yeah, that's a friend had in his basement.
I don't feel so bad about my unfinished door that sits over the 2 file cabinets now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I thought about a door. A door was actually what we were going to get, and we went to Home Depot, and we saw this. Yeah, and it was like $20, $30, $40 or something, and it's like, it's real long. And then I did get one fold out. It's like a banquet table, and I think that was like $30 from Office Depot or someplace, and because I wanted a lot of tabletop, and so I've got what is this, 20, 30 feet of tabletop in here to spread my stuff
completely full. Yeah.
And then zillions of filing cabinets and
piles and stacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
but I did have to invest.
I've talked to 2 authors that mentioned that. Chris Cleave said the best thing he ever accomplished as a writer was buying the time to be a writer.
Yeah.
He worked at an internet startup for a year and a half or 2 years to buy him the 18 months it took to write his book.
That's interesting.
And then Craig Clevenger also said he eventually had to buy an apartment a couple blocks down from where he lives, and he would go there and he would tell himself that there was no Wi-Fi in that place, so he could not get on the internet and browse, and was plug it in and write, and that's it. He would forcibly remove himself from it.
Well,
I think he's in Bolivia now, so his internet's pretty sketchy. But
well, I stopped this. I mean, I got these 2. It's one PC and a monitor. But I love the big screen because I can
get 2 pages up at the same time.
Well, yeah, and when I write, I usually have like 25 to 30 windows open, but I have Excel spreadsheets that I use for the book, and then anytime I'm writing a chapter, I have I need versions and versions, but I have something that always starts with crap from the title and then whatever chapter, whatever I'm working on, and it's all the stuff, paragraphs or chunks that I throw out. I put it over there because sometimes when I won't take the whole. I salvage sentences or bits from them sometimes. Or a little bit like, how did I word this before? I like the way I had it. Anyway, but so I always like having that open over there, and I can
raw source material, and then you can pick and choose from.
Well, but also it's sort of like having the garbage can open. So I like grab something out of here, I rewrite it, like I copy it like throw it over there and rewrite it without having to open something. It's just very quick. Throw it out and keep going here. Actually, originally, for a long time, there's a PC over on that table. I set that up because that was the internet PC.
Okay.
And so that was another thing I had to do. Like, I had to get out of my apartment and walk 30 feet down the hall to come to work, but then I also had to segregate too. So to get on the web, it's like 6 feet to there. But the act of, having to get out of the chair, I didn't have the urge to just check my email. Oh, I'll just check for a second. Or like, see what's on the web. Yeah, exactly. So I had to get up. At some point, I stopped doing that because there was a research phase where I was having to do so much on the web, legitimate researching, that I just decided like it was just too much. Yeah. But back and forth. But flash drives are good, sending it back and forth. I also do a ton of my writing out there on the balcony and also on walks. Well, earlier in our conversation, you probably edited it out. I pulled it out of my pocket, but I always have I always have a piece of paper in quarters like this in my pocket, and I go on walks and on bike rides too. But I will start. I will do a tremendous part. So I do more than 90%, 99, 95% at the computer typing it in. But I found that
you never know when the stuff hits you.
Well, but it's more than that. It's I come now to like 95% of my scenes. I start the scenes on paper. Okay. Either on a walk or out there on the balcony.
That's a conscious effort. You go on a walk to say, I need to ruminate on this, I need to mull it over.
Well,
or is it just, I'm going to go for a walk and your mind naturally gravitates towards the
more
issue?
The latter.
Yeah.
And while I was working on the book, it was like I was required pretty much daily walks. Yeah. And I never knew what was going to come out. Right. And sometimes it was reconceiving a scene, but getting going. And there's a certain amount of length, or even just out there on the balcony, I find that when I'm here typing, and I should probably face the camera, but when I'm typing, I will rewrite a sentence 20 times, or more, and keep going, and it can take me the first half hour in that first paragraph. If I'm writing on paper, I'll keep going, and I wish I had something here, but I mean, by the time I'm running along, I will have all sorts of cross-outs, and then I'll have like, arrows, I'll circle something and move it up here. It'll be all marked up within the first 10 or 15 minutes, but that's okay. But there's still forward movement. I'm going, and by 10 or 15 minutes, I might have 2 pages of stuff, and it's got the gist of it going. Then there's a part where I just know in my head, okay, I'm into the scene, I know what I'm doing, I can go to the computer, and I literally rush back in here, because there's always this back and forth. The more I write, the more I don't have to type the crap in, like, I hate doing that. Yeah. And if it gets to be too much, I'm going to hate
so much less
doing
creative than just sitting on a typing.
Yeah, but I can't do it too soon. But there's just a moment where I know, okay, I've got enough, I'm into the scene, I've got the flow of it, I've got the pace of it, I've just, I've got just the phrasing, and I've got the point of view, I know what I want to say, and I'm going. And then I can come into here, and usually I don't start retyping this yet, because this, that'll just bog me down. I just pick up wherever I am, I just continue typing. And then, and I just go like crazy the way you're supposed to go, without stopping. And well, I still do some stopping, but mostly just forward motion.
A little inline editing?
Yeah, as I go. But I would say 90% forward motion, 10% stopping as I go. And then when I get, winded, then I'll come back and put the stuff in. And then I, rewrite it a dozen more times, but that's okay. And I actually find I have to force myself to take breaks after. Yeah. But when I'm doing it, like 2.5 hours max, I have to stop. Yeah. I make myself. I have to stop and eat and take a break. Otherwise, well, my sugar, my blood sugar, and I can feel it going too. My blood sugar plunges so low. I'm spent for the day if I don't take a break and do it. Right. And I've learned, like, yes, you have to keep coming while it's there, but like I can squeeze in another half hour, or I can get something to eat. Take a little time off and do another. Yeah, and have several more stints that day.
Penny wise, pound foolish with your time.
Yeah, and I can't write. I can't write well when I'm tired or hungry or spent. Okay. I just sometimes I can edit, but well.
You a morning writer?
would say late morning to afternoonish and early evening.
Really?
Well,
that covers the day pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, it's different every day, and I hit roadblocks at different times. The hardest part is getting started every day.
Yeah.
And then after every break, that's the hardest thing of like how long the break lasts, because
getting back at it.
It's hard getting back in here.
Sure.
But the walks and bike rides are great for that, because it just gets the things going. And I do. Yeah, I had a
funny how that works.
I know I had a prof in actually in Naropa, where I went just during the summer once in Boulder. Bobby Louise Hawkins is a great writer and great prof. And she suggested, she said, next time you're at a Howard Johnson's or some crappy hotel or whatever, take the do not disturb sign. She's like, she said, if people drop in at your house, take one of those do not disturb signs and put that on your front door when you're writing. And she said, and of course there are people who will knock anyway, who will ignore that thing, and then you have to have a talk with them about your friendship and how seriously they take your writing as a job. And I was like, that's really stuck with me, because a friend of mine would complain that I don't answer his voicemails during the day and I don't pick up, and I'm like, and I, several times I'd be like, Tim, I'm writing, I don't do this when I'm writing. And he'd get pissed off and he's like, you have time during the day. I'm like, I'll get distracted. I'm like, dude, you don't take this seriously as my job.
I was going to say, that's an assumption on his part, that you have time.
Right, I know.
And that always is the assumption with the writer, that, you sit around the house all day typing, so you can stop.
Right, I know. Or even if you stop, or if I, cleaned up.
What's your one big piece of advice?
Write every freaking day.
Really?
Yeah, it's the most.
Do you do a word limit? Is there a set stone, or you just say you sit down and even if it's just
you have to do something. Yeah, and I should check this, because I've been saying this for years, but
you've been publishing you've been promoting for the past year. But you still write every day.
Well, yeah, man, it was students when I taught undergrads when I was at grad school, and I had a big chunk of their grade. I called it their stack. I think it was a third of their grade or something. It was just like how much. I don't care what's in it, output, as long as you're doing something. And I don't know. I need to check if this is true, but professional piano players or people who play the flute or whatever an instrument, I think or the violin, don't they pick that up almost every day and do their scales or whatever?
Seems to me anyone who is successful at a task,
at anything, a baseball player, picks up a bat, or in the off season they don't for a couple months, and then they go to spring training because they're freaking rusty, and it takes them a month.
Right. Dave, appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Kasey.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, we look forward to some
another
in the future.
Another. I'm starting to work on another book. Not 10 years, 3 to 4 maybe.
Your agent already told you no 10-year programs.
Yes.
We're going to narrow it down. So you're about the triple year productivity.
Yes, exactly. And I couldn't bear it again. I went really deeply into debt. And the other thing, when I rented this office and hired a part-time assistant, I have a sister who's done well, who I loaned about $25,000 from her. I was already maxing out my credit cards and
so there's
in
the secret
debt.
to writing.
And,
have a sister who
makes money. My other siblings don't actually know about that. I finally got the money to pay her back from my my second royalty check. The first one wasn't enough to live off, but the second installment was. But I had to plunge in there and do it anyway, and just be like, I believe in this book, and maybe I won't. I don't know. I thought the odds were I wouldn't get out of debt from the book, but I would. I would. I wasn't going to be $1 million in debt. I live very frugally. I'm still driving my '92 Nissan Stanza. That's all beat up that I've had since '92.
It's a sweet ride.
You saw it with the window busted out. But so I live frugally. But so I knew I wasn't going to be that bad in debt. But a little deeper, and I was just going to I just got to risk it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to it.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much.